Hello, world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Um, yeah. So this particular live, I wanted to talk about mainly that binary thinking that people have. But before I get into the topic, I just wanted to also say that this month I am not going to be. Um, I'm not going to be uploading any readings this month. Taking a break from doing tarot readings, um, period, not just on YouTube, but anywhere. I'm not going to do general readings for social media this month. And I'm taking a break for a couple of reasons. And it might be this month. I don't know how long my break is going to be, but I know I'm going to take one. I'm still going to be talking because um, I don't actually need the cards to do readings. I'm still doing personal readings, but like I said, as far as general readings on social media, I'm going to take a break from doing that. Because again, I'm focused on other things. Like I said, I don't necessarily need tarot cards to do what I do. And I'm trying to um, get comfortable with other forms of divination, other forms of, or other ways of communicating what I'm seeing, feeling, and picking up. But one of the main reasons why I wanted to take a break is one, doing general readings. I don't mind it, and like I'm not trying to talk shit or anything like that, but the tarot community, the spiritual community, is just like really oversaturated right now. And it's like I get it. I get like people hop on, spiritual trends. Like people do that, period. People hop on trends, period. Like, that's just the way it is. Um and it's kind of annoying because it kind of dilutes the energy, and it's hard to get taken seriously by the kind of people I want to be taken seriously by, because the people that I really am trying, like the tribe that I'm trying to attract, are open-minded, intelligent people. And usually open-minded, intelligent people end up getting turned away from things like tarot and other like divination tools, because you have so many people on it, so many people out here trying to really like brand themselves as a tarot reader or a medium or a psychic or a root worker and all this other kind of stuff. And because it's so many people on it, and it's spiritual, it's spirituality, so you can't, I mean, real recognize real. There are ways to tell whether somebody is full of shit or not. But again, most people, there's so many people doing this shit now that it's you have to sift through a lot of people, and a lot of people don't have time for that. Honestly, a lot of people really just don't have time for it. And like I said, this is the ebb and flow of spirituality. Like, and again, I've been in it for a really long time. I've had these gifts and stuff like that my whole life. And from what I've seen, these are the ebbs and flows. Like, it 1 minute everybody is want to hop on it, it's novelty, and then shit gets real, or people get tired of it, and then they go back to church, or they go back to whatever they were doing. um but again, it's, for me, like I said, it's just too saturated, and what I'm really trying to do is provoke thought. And I'm grateful for everybody that likes and follows my channels, because it's different on each one. I have um quite a few people following me on Facebook, but the number isn't the same on Instagram, and the number isn't the same on YouTube. But I'm growing. I've been doing this my whole life, but I'm new to social media. So, like I said, I'm just trying to take the time to really iron out the ins and outs, really trying to learn social media marketing and all the other kind of stuff, while also doing spiritual work and taking care of myself. So it's self care and all that other kind of stuff. Um, but it's like I said, it gets frustrating because there are times where um, again, when the energy you channel is like really, sometimes these energies like really want your attention. They really need you to get quiet and listen and really like actively pay attention to what they're trying to convey. And if you aren't willing to dedicate that kind of time to it, then I don't recommend anybody getting into um certain levels of spirituality, because it's not entertainment. And I know we have a lot of people that do that, and that's all fine and well. Like, especially what is as real as it is right now, sometimes it does help to have, those online personalities, making us laugh, entertaining us. It helps us to, take a break from how real it is. So, and I get that, but that's not what I want to do. That's right for right now. Maybe at some other time, like, who knows? But for right now, these energies really want me to pay attention to what they're saying, because there is, whether that's the thing about spiritual warfare, is like, if especially if you aren't that spiritual, it goes on and you might not know that it's going on. But when you're a spiritual person and there's spiritual warfare going on, and I see so many people like acting like nothing's happening, like, like that doesn't affect me. Oh, okay. Again, I don't know what energy you're channeling, but okay. I'm not here to argue with people. I'm not here to debate with people. But if you feel like nothing is going on, then okay. But for me, we are in the middle of a really seriously intense spiritual warfare, which is another reason why I don't like to be on here with too much of the back and forth that a lot of people do in the spiritual community. Oh, here's my altar. And then somebody comes along, you don't need an altar. Here's somebody, whatever it is, like, oh, I wasn't initiated into anything. Oh, well, you're not spiritual. It's not going to work for you if you haven't been initiated. Like, at the end of the day, what results you're getting. You know what your connection is. And if you're getting those results and you're sure that you have your connection, then it shouldn't matter. If you want to have altars. If that's what makes you feel powerful, if that's what makes you feel like you can communicate with your ancestors or whatever spiritual beings you're committed to, then have your altar. But if you feel like, all you need is your mind, then use your mind. But the back and forth, which is why I wanted to do um, this particular live. A lot of us, especially in these Black spiritual communities, and again, I always want to make it clear, I'm not speaking about anybody else's lived experience but mine. I'm a Black woman, so I can only go by my lived experience. Other people, there's all kind of social media. If you have a different experience, create your own platform and talk about it instead of going back and forth with people. Um, but that's the issue that I'm talking about. This my way or no way, us against them, and it's really not productive for us spiritually. And it's another reason why I'm like kind of like taking a break. Like, there's just too much of it going on. And not only that, there are other personal things going on in my life that I'm just like, you know what, I need to take a break. And I've been taking a break. I have been taking a break from a lot of things and self-caring ever since COVID happened. Sometimes you don't realize how much trauma you need to heal until you actually are really in your healing. But so I, like I said, have been in these spiritual streets for a long time. I have, you know, grew up in the church. And again, as Black people, we all grow up with, well, most of us grow up with these, especially here in America, we grow up with these um, really strict religious beliefs, that now we're just now starting to see as an issue. But even still seeing it as an issue, it still takes time to unlearn, a lot of the things that we were taught. And so many of us were taught um, this binary thinking, especially when it comes to spirituality, is like really rooted in a lot of religious thought, and the good versus evil. And at that time, we're evolving, and the brain evolves as well. I studied psychology in college, and one of the things that we learned is that the brain evolves too. And certain people that have like a lot of like psychopathic tendencies, their brains, these are people that still have brains that have not evolved. And it sounds crazy, and it's really fascinating, which is why I love um, studying psychology and studying anatomy. Um, but when I had an I had to take an abnormal psychology class, and we were focused on serial killers, and their brains are physically different than people who would never engage in that type of behavior. People who aren't necessarily violent, have empathy and compassion. Um, I forgive me again. I'm the Most High for a reason. I can't think of what the actual part of the brain is called, but um, certain people just don't have the same um, anatomy in their brains as other people. Certain people still have that the kind of brain that was needed at a time where it was really more fight or flight. Um, there was less information out here, there was less education, there was less medicine. And some people, when you were in certain environments, your brain has to be a little bit cold. Like it depends on the environment that you come from. Like, and a lot of us are coming out of really harsh you know environments. And some people adapt well to those environments, and some people don't adapt well to those environments. And some people, when you have to hunt your own food, it's hard to be very compassionate when you have to go out and kill something in order to eat, in order to survive. So a lot of us are coming out of um the era, old age, and our brains are adapting, and some people's brains are slower to adapt. So that's why it's still hard for a lot of people to get out of this very binary thinking. Like it's especially, and again, I'm focusing on spirituality. It's something is either good or it's evil. There is no in between. And that has really bled into and spilled over into a lot of the spiritual community that you see, out here. It's either love and light, or it's, dark and evil, and it's not, that's not an accurate way to go about being a part of any kind of spiritual system. Especially, like I said, that worked at one period in time, but we have to get caught up in that everything isn't the devil, everything isn't God. These are also constructs, just like race is a construct. We have to get out of these limited thinking and this limited belief, which is why I'm like, again, I get so amazed at how flooded the spiritual community is. Because, like I said, not that long ago, everybody was telling me I was going to hell. And I knew I wasn't. But again, when this is what you believe, when this is what you believe, you take it as fact when it's just what you believe. This is why I don't like going back and forth with people, especially Christians or people who have that Christian mindset, because they want everything to be one way. They're very binary in their thinking. Like two things can't be true at the same time. Like it really, like I said, it hinders people's growth, and like I said, people start off always wanting to disagree with me, but then, down the line, because I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. And but for some reason, the narcissism in people just like has to disagree, has to no, this can't be right. No, this is wrong. Where all I'm doing is saying maybe it's not wrong. How about we look into it instead of being so afraid all the time that the devil is just going to jump out and get us? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there aren't like forces out here that aren't capable of doing um, harm. I'm not saying that. Um, but again, just because something is capable of doing harm doesn't mean it's necessarily evil or bad. I don't know. Like I said, when I first started doing this, I was going to hell, and there's still a lot of people that think that. There's still a lot of people that think I'm going to hell, and the devil is using me, and God isn't pleased, and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, how do you even know? Like again, you're going on your faith, you're going on your beliefs. Christianity is a belief; it is a faith, and so many people, you know, do horrible things trying to defend what they believe, and it's like it's just what you believe. You have to stand in the fact that this is what you think and that it is what you believe, instead of spending so much energy fighting people because they don't feel the same way that you feel. It's so funny, like the Suicide Squad movie that just came out was a perfect example of that. I forget John Cena's character, but again, that white Christian mentality that we all inherited. Like, I'll do anything to have things my way. Like, if I have to kill children, if I have to do whatever, I have to do horrible things, if that's what's going to give me what I believe freedom and privilege is, then I'm willing to do that, instead of really sitting down and identifying that this is just what I believe and that nobody has to be harmed, that everybody can have peace if we all just are okay with people thinking and believing different things. Now, if somebody is being harmed, that's different. And I don't understand how, people can get harmed and people are like, well, there's, sacrifices need to be made. Okay, yeah, sacrifices do need to be made. There's a difference between like, and that's another thing that's very disturbing, the way spiritual and religious people equate murder and killing with sacrifice. And like I said, when you come from a certain environment, and I've said this before, when you come from a certain environment, that is normal. A lot of sacrifices do have to be made. Like I said, and Black people, like I said, we come from a lot of those harsh environments where we had to make hard choices. So I get it. I understand. Trust me, I understand. But what I'm trying to say is we are coming out of those times, and so many of us are still stuck in the struggle mindset, stuck in the suffering mindset, and it is dangerous. The shit is fucking dangerous to us to still embrace these kinds of thoughts. I hate when I hear people say, well, in life you have to suffer. That again, that's a horrible mentality to have. Even when in desperate situations, that's a horrible mentality to have. It's horrible to think, and it's a sickness to think that in life it's natural for people to suffer. I remember I was talking to a student when I used to work at a university. And I always like talking to the young people just to get a sense of like what they think, what they know, what they believe, how are they raised. And so many kids of other ethnic backgrounds, even even people of color, get raised to believe that if you are Black, then you're meant to suffer. And us suffering, again, that binary thinking, us suffering usually bounces out to other people not suffering. So I really try to follow me as I really try to get this out. So again, there are a lot of people, including some Black people, that believe that Black people's lot in life is to suffer. And that in that suffering is how we know what other people perceive to be the opposite of suffering, which is, I guess, I don't know what the opposite of suffering is because, again, I don't believe in suffering. But again, a lot of people do. So again, these kids, in some way or another, convey to me that this is what they believe because this is what their parents taught them. So when they come into an environment where they have to be with other Black people, a lot of them sometimes end up surprised at Black culture and end up getting a different understanding. And some don't. Some just are around. And again, you have to talk to people to understand what they believe. You have to listen to people to hear what they believe. And a lot of times, like when we're around people that are different from us culturally or ethnically, we focus on how people are treating us. Oh, they're so friendly. They're so nice. But we don't pay attention to what they think and what they believe. That's a very dangerous thing. You have to pay attention to what people think and what they believe to get to the root of, again, why people affiliate with certain political affiliations, religious affiliations, have certain beliefs, so that way you can really unpack it. But the suffering narrative is dangerous because I truly do not believe in my heart of hearts that suffering is a part of life. I know that suffering happens, but to believe that it is a part of life is a sickness in Black people. It's a sickness in anybody that believes it, honestly, not just Black people. It's a sickness in anybody that believes that. Because really in life, yes, I get that there's sadness. Yes, I get there's pain and I get that there's loss. Suffering is something different. Suffering can happen because of those things, but you don't have to suffer in life. There may be like the loss of a loved one, and that's very painful. But in that you learn that, people are still with us in spirit. Um in life there are losses, you might get the job of your dreams, and then you might end up losing that job. Like I said, I get that there's pain and losses, right? But when someone is suffering, to make that normal is, like I said, a very dangerous thing. It's a very dangerous thought process for anybody that believes in that and puts their energy into believing that. And I even heard somebody say in regard to the earthquake that happened again, and they have Haiti on the suffering cycle as well. There's no reason why, you know, a place as abundant in resources is continuing to have these devastating earthquakes that's just ravaging these Haitian people. California experiences a lot of earthquakes as well, but they've had people to um, really rebuild things in a way that they can withstand the shock of these earthquakes. And I'm really failing to understand why the kind of devastation is continuing to happen in Haiti. But I'm not, that's a whole other thing. I'm going off on a tangent. Like I said, I smoked a little while ago. And like I said, bear with me. I need y'all gotta really bear with me to get these jewels and these out of this, okay? Bear with me. I'm going somewhere with this. But I heard someone say, and I don't remember who, but that like, because again, when you're faced with the horrible things that Black people go through all over the world, it really is hard to wrap your mind around. And when you can't, it's easy to just default to, oh, well, in life you suffer. Oh, well, and again, that's people that still have that brain that has not evolved yet, that brain that still has not gotten current to the new world that we are entering into. When someone is suffering, and I'm going to use an animal because specifically white people seem to only empathize with animals. If a white person sees an animal suffering, the instinct is to help the animal to immediately stop suffering, because like I said, there's a difference between hurting and suffering. Yes, in life you will experience hurt. I said that already. But suffering is when the hurting is so bad and nothing can be done. When somebody is hurting or somebody is in pain, you go and take care of it. If somebody is sad, then you lift them up, you try to make them happy. If somebody is in pain, you take them to get help. But if somebody is suffering, the humane thing to do is to put that person or that thing, that animal, out of its misery, because suffering is misery and we were not created to live miserable lives, which is why when an animal is suffering, the humane thing to do is to kill it. This is why it's dangerous for Black people or for anybody to have this mentality that in life we're supposed to fucking suffer. Suffering brings misery, and the humane thing to do for people who are miserable and suffering is to put them out of their misery. Do y'all fucking get this? If you pass an animal on the side of the road and it's been hit and you know there's nothing that can be done for that animal, the humane thing to do is to put it out of its misery and kill it. Too much damage has been done. And there's nothing that can help. It's just going to suffer. Do you understand why that's a dangerous thing to believe, that people in life suffer, that some people, it's meant in life for some people to suffer? And then y'all can't really understand or wrap your mind around why Black people go through the shit we fucking go through? And everybody, like I said, is so used, we've been on the suffering wavelength for so long that it seems foreign and weird to think of anything else. This is why capitalism works the way it does, because it works on suffering. It works on these binary thoughts. If you are not doing this my way, you will suffer. And you can't keep a system going based off of manipulating people's survival instincts. You can't keep forcing people in a system that makes them slave for the things that keep them alive, because that causes suffering, because everybody doesn't think the same. Everybody doesn't, we're not all the same, and we need to be okay with that. Like I said, it's okay. It's okay. If you are somebody, to where you are, you have a high energy and you like to be busy and you like to be productive, then go out there and you have ideas, then go forward and be productive and work. But understand that that's not everybody's makeup. Some people have low energy and like to spend their energy in a slower way, and don't want to work. That's somebody that should be somebody's choice, and you shouldn't have to suffer in life because you don't want to work hard like everybody else has to work hard. Again, all of these old beliefs, like I said, that hunter gatherer belief systems. We have technology now. We don't have to continue to extract so many resources from the earth. We have technology now. Like I said, it's a dangerous game that we have been playing for a long time. Like I said, the suffering Olympics, and Black people have no problem signing up. But again, the suffering get put out of their misery. So nowhere in anybody's mind do you see something suffering and think that that's normal. Can we stop with that? Can we stop? Can we stop seeing horrible things happen on a world scale and think that that's normal? That, oh, in life, this is supposed to happen. No, the fuck, it's not. You are not supposed to suffer in life. Like I said, if you were, the humane thing to do wouldn't be to kill something that was suffering. You're supposed to help people out of their suffering. That's what it is. If you see somebody suffering, you're supposed to get them out of that situation. And if you can't get them out of that situation, if there's nothing that can be done, like I said, the humane thing to do is to put that person out of their misery. It's like when somebody is in a horrible accident and everything is messed up. There's brain damage, there's broken bones, internal bleeding, and organ failure. If it gets to a point where there's nothing that can be done, you can't ease the pain, you can't stop the suffering. The humane thing to do is to put that person out of their misery. What the fuck? Like, why are y'all so sick and just really set on either or? You either this way or it has to be that way. Like, y'all niggas is sick. Like, it's so many people out here just like really on some weirdness, like just used to suffering. This is why, like, when it comes to Black people, they're constantly putting out these movies with the narrative of us suffering, going through horrible shit, these slave movies, constantly trying to have us on this loop of you're the people supposed to be suffering in life. This is your lot in life. That's why you're Black. That's why your skin is dark. You're supposed to suffer because you're not in the light. Darkness is evil, and evil should suffer. Nobody has compassion for evil. Nobody's going to, feel sorry for you if you're dark and you're suffering. It's your lot in life. That's dangerous. Again, that binary thinking, it's Black or it's white. It's good or it's evil. There's a whole spectrum in between those two definitions. And the sad part is everything is just so turned around and that people refuse to question their beliefs. How about maybe the darkness is good and the light is bad? Let's go there. Let's take this conversation here because I'm sick of some of y'all. God damn it! Everything has to. Nobody can say or do anything. You know, have an opinion and then do something that to you appears to not line up with that opinion, and y'all lose y'all fucking minds. I remember I was running errands with a friend of mine. And of course, everybody knows my stand on children. I love children and I believe very strongly in protecting children. And a lot of the energy that I have been channeling um, over the past couple of years, again, I've been an advocate for children for a long time. But as far as on my platforms, I've been writing and talking about advocating for children, protecting children. And I don't just do it online, I do it in real life. Again, which is what I try to use my platform for, like I said, not trendy shit, not entertaining people, but actually genuinely helping people. So again, people know my stand on children. And I was out with a friend, and this little kid got in trouble and got popped. And I thought the shit was funny. Like, I thought it was hilarious. And my friend was like, I thought you loved children. How the fuck do you like how do you come to that conclusion that because I love children, I believe in protecting children, that I'm going to think a parent disciplining their child is harm, or that I'm somehow a hypocrite and not standing on my word. Again, people with this binary thinking. It's like, you know, I've never said that we're supposed to bow down to children and treat them like we're scared of them and never say anything to them or discipline them. I'm talking about harm. I'm talking about harm and exploitation and abuse. But because everybody wants to be so binary in their thinking, I can't see a little kid get popped by their parent because they were not listening and get disciplined. I'm supposed to think that that's harm. I'm supposed to, be a bleeding heart. Oh my God, that was horrible. I can't believe they disciplined their own child. Oh my God. No, parents can discipline their children. And guess what? I'm entertained by it. If you keep telling your child to stop running off and be still so you can keep an eye on them and they're not listening and and you pop the shit out of them, guess what? I think that's funny. I'm not here to say that parents should not be able to discipline their children. I'm not saying that children are so fragile that a parent can't pop their kids on the legs or something like that and, think it's the end of the fucking world. Like, are y'all crazy? But again, y'all can't think it has to be one way or the other. Like, y'all expect everybody to be in one box, and that's just it. And everything you say and do has to be in that box. Like, two things can be true at the same time. Children should be protected from harm and exploitation and abuse. But yes, parents still have the right to discipline their children if they see fit, without harm, without abuse. It's possible. Just because you don't know how to do that, don't take up issue with me. Don't take up issue with me. It's possible. You can still discipline your children and still love children and protect children and keep children from harm. Again, there's a difference between pain and somebody, and discipline and suffering. There's a difference. There's a difference. You making your child suffer is different from disciplining your child. You constantly causing your child to be harmed, constantly causing your children mental and emotional anguish or physical anguish is not the same as disciplining your children in love. But again, people don't know how to not have binary thinking. Black, white, good, evil. But back to the darkness not being what you think it is. And when I'm going to do some book, I'm going to get some books and do like a regular video more detailing what I'm talking about so that people can see it in real time. But the darkness that you think of is not evil. The light is more evil than you could possibly imagine. But again, when you have been raised to think certain things and you don't want to stray from that because of fear, that's what you need to admit to. Like, I'm just afraid to think differently. I was told that this would happen. If I thought this way, bad things would happen to me. But if you believe that, then whatever. But we are all created in the darkness of our mother's womb. Your subconscious mind operates in the darkness of your mind. The spirit realm operates in darkness, the unknown, what's unseen, what's hidden. Now, yes, people do fucked up things in the dark when they think nobody is looking. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about sneaky behavior. Okay. Again, get out of your binary thinking. Okay. There are spectrums to things. Okay. We're not talking about sneaky behavior here. Okay. We're talking about the spirit realm. And the spirit realm is darkness, the darkness of your subconscious mind. And how that influences everything, including the light. Everything comes from the darkness, including the light. Just like we come from like I said, we come from the darkness. And the physical manifestation of that is you being in the darkness of your mother's womb until you make it out into the light. The darkness is where there is unity. The spirit realm is where there is unity. It's not until we get into the light that we have these issues, that we have these binary thoughts. It's hot or it's cold, it's good or it's evil, it's black or it's white. That is light thinking. You have to be in the light because the light divides. The light shows you where the differences are. The light is only the reason why you know if something is attractive or unattractive. You see it in the light. And the light corrupts. Like I said, the light divides and the light corrupts. It's not the darkness that does that. The darkness is unity. The darkness is where we all come back to. The dark realm is where all of these entities exist, and they exist in harmony because there is nothing dividing it. There is no you, I, we, them. We just are in the darkness. Like I said, this may sound crazy to some people, but I'm telling you right. Especially for people who claim that they're, dark side and they practice dark magic and all this other kind of stuff, and you billing it as bad and evil. And I don't know what type time you want. I don't know what type of energies or entities you are channeling. Like I said, what's real to you is real to you. But to me, the entities in the dark are very nurturing. The entities in the dark are feminine. The light is masculine. Because again, the light is the ray. The light is the ray that penetrates darkness. And when these forces are working together, beautiful things can be created. But sometimes in the light, it's too much light can corrupt the mind. Too much light can cause people to be narcissistic. Too much light can cause jealousy and envy. Because again, the light divides. You see this person as being more attractive than you. You see this person having more money than you. You see this person doing things that you're not doing. And that can corrupt the mind and cause deep-seated narcissistic issues. And again, narcissism is not being too overly cocky and arrogant. Narcissism is a mental disorder. It's when you see things in the light and you cannot handle it. And you'll do anything to have the light be the way you want it to be. If you have to lie, steal, and kill, I want what that person has. I want to look the way that person looks. That's what the light will do for you. But we're so caught up in it, in the light being so good. It's not. It corrupts. If you, again, it takes a certain amount of spiritual maturity to understand that. You have to have spiritual maturity dealing with either one, either energy, light or dark. Either one of them is not to be fucked with. Either one, both of them require a certain amount of maturity to handle. One isn't good and one isn't bad. If you understand the light, then you understand that it, you can use it for good. Like I said, we see things in the light. The light gives us knowledge. The light helps us, create a better world for ourselves. But again, if you don't know how to handle that light, that's why we have the corruption. That's why we have war. That's light energy for you love and light holes. The light is where the evil comes from, not the darkness. But again, that's a spiritual lesson that some of y'all might not even be ready to receive that download. Especially you love and light holes. That might have been above your head. But it's the truth whether you get it or you don't. The deepest evil is found in the light. It's the light that got you believing that the dark is fucking evil when it's not. It's the dark that have you believing that bad things happen at night. Good things happen at night too. Good things happen in the dark too. Like I said, that's where you can really get unification. That's where you really can find harmony, especially in the spirit realm, in these spiritual streets. You need the darkness to understand unity and harmony. You got to be together in something. The light can't divide every fucking thing. And that's the problem. People have, again, on the belief that the light is good and you have to be on the side of good. There isn't a side to take. This is the point. There is not a side to take. You take the energies and you use them and create something that works for you. That's what alchemy is, the balancing of light and dark energies, not the polarization of them. And that's what we've been on. Religion polarizes energy, whereas the alchemy tries to bring them together and find something that works for you. And this is how I can tell where people are in their thinking when it comes to this whole wave of spirituality that everybody is on. If you're on this love and light, I'm really questioning if you really have thought through your beliefs. And you're just going by what you feel, because again, you've been programmed on light energy. You believe that there's a side to take and you want to be on the side of what you believe is good. So you are on light energy. You're on light time. And everything is binary in the light. There's only light or there's only darkness. And the two can't ever meet. One is good and one is bad, and you got to pick a side. Again, life isn't binary. There's a time for that, yes, but everything can't be one way. Everything isn't black or white. And we're learning that through the LGBT community. A lot of people now starting to say, like, maybe I'm not male or female. Maybe I'm something else. That binary thinking, even with sexuality, a lot of people are having a hard time wrapping their minds even around that. Well, you look like a woman or you look like a man. Again, like, let your mind evolve. Let your mind evolve as the dark side rises up. Dark energy, dark matter, all of this is rising up, and it's going to be hard unless you are open to questioning and challenging the shit you believe and the things that you think. I remember being in church, like really by the time I was in my 20s, I was like, this shit don't add up. Like, this shit do not add up. This shit don't add up. Like, heaven, like, all right, well, if it's a real place, somebody should know how to get to it, but without death. If it's a real place. And again, why the materialism of it? Like, streets of gold? Streets of gold? the streets. And everybody got a mansion, like the dumb shit that I grew up here. And I'm just like, and then people are like, well, heaven isn't like this world. That's why you don't understand it. And I'm like, okay, there's certain laws that govern life, not just this world. There's certain universal laws. There's certain universal laws. How will we have a civilization that like y'all don't know how to not fight for gold here? How the fuck you think you gonna get to heaven and y'all ain't gonna fight for gold there either? Like, come on, like, come on. You don't die and become somebody else. You don't die and the shit that you thought and believed leave you. If you was the type of person to where you would fight somebody over something valuable like gold, you would do it there in heaven too. The fuck? And there's no conflict. Like, conflict is normal. It's how we handle it. It's all about how we handle conflict. It's not about the eliminating of conflict. It's about learning how to handle conflict in a mature way that doesn't result in violence or suffering. Man, listen, I'm just trying to tell y'all it's time for y'all to evolve your thinking, question your beliefs, question the shit you was raised with. Like I said, this heaven and hell narrative, especially when, like I said, there's it's just what you believe. Don't fall out with people, with family and people that you love over shit that you just believe. Especially because the way technology is evolving, even the way we define death is changing. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. You ain't got to like me. I don't care. But guess what? Like I said, y'all fight me in the beginning. Y'all clown me and argue with me, and then next thing you know, y'all on my wave. So it is what it is. But question those narratives. Question and really ask, does that make sense? There's going to be a place where the streets is made of gold and pearly gates, and really think about what that is, and start to see things through a symbolic lens instead of an actual literal one. Same thing for hell. Does that make sense? And that's another reason why you might not want to think that God and the light is the good place, because God and the light came up with eternal torture and suffering. That's what the light will create for you. You don't agree with the light, here's a place for you to go and fucking suffer for all eternity. And eternity is a fucking concept because nothing lasts eternally. You just have to believe that things go on. That's what eternity is, the belief that things go on. It's a belief. So you really believe that, what is the average lifespan of a human on average is what, 80 years? 80 years is the average. And even I get that people live longer than that. I get people that live well over 100 years, but even that is not a long time. In especially when weighed through the concept of eternity, it's not a long time. 80 to 100 years is not a long time to judge someone's behavior and say that they need to suffer for eternity. That doesn't make sense. Stop it. Stop. Will y'all please stop? Can y'all please stop and admit that you're not well mentally and emotionally if you believe that? or why, if somebody is doing something, why you feel like that's an appropriate punishment, instead of doing things to change the environment that creates these beliefs and creates these behaviors. If somebody's doing something horrible, how about we change the environment so that way that doesn't have to happen, instead of making people afraid of suffering for an eternity? Because things change. The only way something can go on eternally is if it changes. That you have to evolve. Just like if you were good in eternity, eventually this beautiful heaven that you're thinking of, eventually that would change. Just like hell. Nobody could suffer for an eternity. Eventually something in your mind would click over and cause the suffering to stop. Eventually, again, like, question these things. Get out of that binary thinking. Get out of thinking that, like I said, this heaven and hell. Nobody really knows for sure. And don't listen to these people. It's another thing. Let me help y'all religious people out, especially for people who are questioning their beliefs, and people who are just at a place now where, they're feeling comfortable, reading up on other things, questioning other things. Let me give you guys a little bit of game. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Like I said, bear with me. The weed is kicking in. Bear with me. But when you have this mindset of suffering, and there has to be hell, or there has to be, when you get into a place where you start questioning things and saying, what, that doesn't necessarily sound right, or, I don't know, like, give yourself permission to do that. That's the first step. Give yourself permission to question things. Give yourself permission to think that, you know we all have an ability to question something. It's okay. It's okay to question authority. It's okay to do that. It's okay to have questions and concerns about something, especially when you get a little older and you can weigh your life experience against certain things. Like when you're young, like, yeah, I get it. It's hard. You go by what your parents teach you. But when you get a little older, you should have enough life experience to be able to weigh the things somebody told you against your life experience. And what the fuck was I going to say? I was getting ready to drop some serious fucking game. God damn it. What was I going to say? Fuck. I lost my train of thought. That's the thing with these lives. You can't stop and go back and then pick up where you were. What was I saying? See, I'm distracted because I have my doors open and I'm being newsy, watching my neighbors come in and out. I'm being real. That's why I lost my train of thought. I'm supposed to be focusing, but I got my door wide open and I'm being newsy right now and fucked up my train of thought. Anyway, back to black and white. But I was going somewhere, and like I said, I've had some heavy jewels to drop. Hopefully, I'll get back to it. But anyway, the whole binary thinking, um, like I said, when it comes to religion, but again, like, in a lifetime, especially because a lot of people beat themselves up. A lot of people really are hard on themselves, and they have this mentality of, again, suffering. I had sex before I was married, and now, you really feel guilty and feel like you have to beat yourself up because, you know, me beating myself up, hopefully God will see that and have mercy on me and keep me from hell where I'm going to get beat up, eternally anyway. So if I show God that I'm beating myself up, like if I'm showing God, like, here's some of that hell, here's some of that torture, here, I'm doing it to myself. Save me and vindicate me so that way I won't go to hell and suffer for eternity. Like a lot of people have that sick, like a lot of just sick fucking thoughts in their mind. And for a lot of people, it's like, well, how do you deal with, certain behavior? And it's like, start there. Start, like I said, question it, of thinking, get your mind wrapped around the fact of, getting help for people when they do things that you don't like or things that you find appalling or harmful. Because most of the people in these religious groups, most of the people in these religious settings aren't doing horrible things. They're just doing what comes natural to them. Having sex is a natural function of the body. Period. Whether you're married or not. Again, that's binary thinking, to think that you either have to be married to enjoy sex. It's either married or not married. No, get that out of your mind, okay? That doesn't make sense. Sex is a natural function of the body. Like I said, I grew up in the church, and these are all things that I was taught at some period of time that I questioned, whether it was actually in the Bible or some adult, you know, some adult's interpretation of the Bible or something that they believe when it comes to their religious thinking. And it was so many things. Like I said, if you had sex before you got married, that was considered sin. And again, sex is a natural function of the body. It's how we all get here. Well, thanks to science and technology, that's not the only way we get here these days, but still, sex is the way most of us are here and alive. Our parents had sex. Okay. So my mom and dad weren't married at the time I was conceived. I wasn't conceived in sin. And again, let's get back to the fact that sin, original sin, is you're born of a woman. And the Bible establishes that because Eve disobeyed God, that as punishment for her not listening to God and eating from the tree of good, the knowledge of good and evil, or binary thinking, that is what doomed her to sin. And if you are born of a woman, you were born in sin. And the only way to redeem yourself from being born of a woman is to be born again with Jehovah or whoever this masculine God is as your father, to be born of the father instead of physically born by your mother. So that's why having sex before you get married was considered a sin. And all these little trivial things that you do. And again, why you need to follow somebody that is creating rules that you can't follow because they're against the natural function of your body. Like I said, sex is a natural function of the body. God didn't create you to get married in order to enjoy sex. Yes, sex is a responsibility, and you need to be mature and responsible when it comes to sex. Of course. Of course. Of course. But like I said, that's common sense. And again, people that have binary thinking, it's hard for them to have common sense. These are the, well, what about this people? The what if people. That's common sense. Stop making it seem like when somebody does something horrible sexually, that like nullifies everything that I'm trying to say. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't make hell real. It doesn't make heaven real. All it means is that some people need help. Stop needing to argue over everything. Stop needing to, like I said, be narcissistic and have everything your way. A lot of shit is not about you individually. It's not about what you think individually. There's millions and billions of people out here with different cultures and different beliefs and different ways of doing things. We can all help each other. That's how it's supposed to be. The reason why I'm doing this is because, like I said, I'm building up to, wow, I've been on here over an hour. Wow. I'm building um like I said, I'm building around these ideas. I'm building around these notions and these narratives that people have. And again, another reason why I'm taking a break from actually doing readings online is because I've been putting more energy into writing, and just trying to get my articles out here. But again, this is why I'm saying this, because there's a root to what I'm saying. There is a just hear me out, because like I said, I'm really going somewhere with this, and like I said, it's easier for me to get my thoughts out sometimes when I am writing. um and like I said, the entertainment and all that is fine and well, but like I said, right now I'm not in entertainment mode. That's all great. And like I said, if other people, that's their talent and that's their ability, that's fine. And I love entertainment and I love to be just as goofy as the next person. But right now, that's not what I feel like I'm called to do. Right now, I feel like I'm, you know, focused on channeling these energies and explaining things in a way that they were explained to me. So that way, like I said, we can move forward. Um, in this new world that is being built all around us every day, and we're not paying attention to it. Um, we're focused on the wrong shit most of the time, and then when things happen, like, people always want to act so shocked and surprised when there's nothing shocking or surprising about it. Like I said, when you understand natural laws, when you understand universal laws, you understand that those really are the only laws, and if we follow them, like, we'll be okay. Like, yeah, things change. Things change. But again, I've been writing. I'm continue to writing. Continue to writing. Whew. Again, I have so much on my mind that it's hard to like really get out all my thoughts and all my words. And I write down things, but like I said, it's still so much that I'm trying to get out, um, that I start writing. So for those of you that are interested, and I try to do a little bit of both. I try to talk for people that like to listen, but I also write things out for people that like to read. And again, like I said, this isn't about entertaining people and coming here and getting something super entertaining. Like I said, that's everywhere. I'm just here to put out information, that's going to help people mentally and emotionally. So again, I don't want to argue with people, but just hear me out, because I know that people listen to me, even though they don't want to admit that they do. Like I said, I can look at the analytics for all of my social media pages and I know people listen. So I'm being mindful and I'm being intentional, because, like I said, I'm channeling certain energies, and these are the things that they're telling me that I need to speak on, and the things that are changing and in ways that they are changing. um and there's going to be a lot of changes, because like I said, the old world is gone, and we're still um stepping into a new world. Like I said, this new world is being built all around us, on the ground and in the sky. Like, there's so many things being built all around us, and we have no idea about it. So I just want to spark conversation. I want people to start asking questions. I want people, like I said, to get out of that old world binary thinking and start to see things in a more of a spectrum, and more of a dynamic way. And again, especially for Black people, because we suffer the most from these binary thought processes. We suffer the most from this either or, the them against us. Like, we need to pull our resources and pull our intelligence and pull our common sense, to help us out of this suffering narrative, so that way we're not always on the bottom while everybody else profits from our tears and our blood. Like, at the end of the day, that is what I am here to do, because the days of that are over. But again, when we're so stuck in our minds make things real. And as long as we have our minds tuned into certain old frequencies, things for us won't change. And we see it and we feel it, but we still, you know like I said, are stuck mentally and emotionally. There's certain things, like I said, I've been saying for years, certain things that I've been trying to say for years. And that's what you can expect in a reading with me. Like I said, I'm still doing readings. I'm just going to take a break from doing the general ones online. But that's the thing. Like, most of the people who reach out for readings aren't really looking for any kind of spiritual guidance. And that's what I do. I give spiritual guidance. I'm not here to deal in your binary thoughts. you know, is my boyfriend, is my girlfriend coming back to me? Like, I don't care about that. I have questions. Like, that's what you can, like, to come to me for a reading. I'm not gonna, I hate when people do all the, like, the trickery to try to, like, razzle dazzle you into thinking that they somehow have some kind of connection to spirit that you don't have. I'm not trying to say that I have a connection that you don't have. We all have, to certain degrees, these spiritual connections. Some people have a stronger connection and some people don't. And for the people that don't, I'm just here to guide you into your own spiritual connections. Okay. I don't like to have all the answers for people, because people who feel like they have the answers don't like to feel like somebody is giving them, like, telling them things that they believe that they already know. This is why when it comes to me, the way I do my readings, I have the questions. I don't have the answers. I have intentional questions. And I will only ask them if you have booked a actual reading for me. The general readings, I'm not asking the questions. I'm giving the information that I feel like I'm channeling or that I'm feeling. So to actually sit down in a reading with me is not me making it seem like I have all the answers. It's your life. You have the answers, and I help you get them. I help you get there. Okay, so please don't trust anybody that makes it seem like they have the answers. Stop giving your money to people that can't show you that they have an understanding spiritually, or that they have an understanding or even a care about who you are spiritually. There's more to this than setting up social media pages and charging people because you're reading cards. It's not about the cards. It's about your connection to people and to the spirit realm. And like I said, a lot of people just leave church and all of a sudden start building their spirituality around the same kind of format and prototype of religion. And people like that normally have a hard time, because like I said, I'm not in that binary thinking. I'm not in this heaven and hell thinking, this right or wrong thinking. Yes, certain things are right and certain things are wrong, but that's subjective. This is why when I say certain things, people get offended, because it fucks with their binary thinking. You're really not offended. It's you're just, I've challenged your beliefs and it made you uncomfortable. But I make people uncomfortable so that way they can get comfortable with new ways of thinking. I don't want anybody thinking that anybody's lot in life is suffering. I don't want anybody to go around thinking that if they had sex with somebody, they're going to burn in hell for all eternity. I don't want people thinking because they think they're a good person that they're going to go to heaven for all eternity. I have been on here longer than I anticipated. This was really supposed to be a quick video about why I was taking a break from doing general readings, but um, I really wanted to get into, like I said, binary and non-binary thought processes. And we all had, like I said, even though this is what I do every day, I challenge myself of how can I get out of binary thinking with certain things. And the work that I do on myself only helps me be better at doing these spiritual readings. But like I said, it's just really getting on my nerves the way people trivialize things. And like I said, I get where that is from. Like I get now, like a lot of people, want to leave their jobs and, want to have something that they want to do. Like I get that. I get that. I get that. Like most people, a lot of people think they want to be rich. A lot of people think they want to be famous. And that's not really the thing. What people want is something that they can call their own. People want something that is their own, that makes them feel special. That's what people want. That's really what people want. So because people want that, now you have so many people, like I said, trying to um, start businesses and, all this other kind of stuff, which is great, which is great. But you have to know who you are and what's in you instead of just, like I said, having this binary thinking and looking at everybody else and like, well, they're doing it this way, I need to do it too. Or, oh, you know, I'm intuitive, I'm going to pick up the cards. It's not just about being intuitive, it's about having a gift. A lot of people are intuitive. That doesn't mean anything. It's just like cooking. There are a lot of people that can cook, but some people have a gift. I don't want to eat everybody's cooking. Everybody's cooking ain't good. I don't want to. It's the same way you won't eat in everybody's house, and the same way you won't eat everybody's cooking. Why? Why? Some of y'all have like are really picky with certain things, but when it comes to spirituality, y'all have no discretion whatsoever. Y'all have zero discretion when it comes to spirituality. Y'all let anybody read for you. You'll let anybody do spiritual shit over you. The same way you won't eat in everybody else's house, you won't eat in every restaurant. It's the same way you should not let just anybody do any kind of spirituality for you, whether it's tarot reading, spells, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Have some fucking discretion because it's not just about the aesthetic. It's not just about the candles, the crystals, and the cards. It's not about those things. It is about you. It is about your gift. Have some more discretion and stop doing stuff because it's cute or like I said, oh, I'm intuitive, so I'm going to start because again, if you're really intuitive, it shouldn't you shouldn't need anything. If you really are intuitive, you should be able to talk to people whether you got cards in your hands or not, whether you got crystals, cards, and candles in your hands or not. I can sit here and tell people, which is why, like I said, I decided to do this because I've been doing this already for years without any kind of social media. So when these fights about social media and people are afraid of, pe- um, people infringing on their rights and, social media um, being what it is, I don't fear that because you can pull up on me at any time I never needed any of that. I don't need a card. I don't need a crystal, and I don't need a candle. I can do this without any of these objects. That's the test of who's really real in this and who's really not. Like I said, it's not about the aesthetic. It's not about that. Like, yes, you can pick up some cards, and the card, like, that's the easiest shit in the world, because like I said, the cards are pictures, and the cards come with explanations of each picture. This picture means this picture means that. So of course you can get a general sense of what these pictures mean, but can you do it without the cards? Can you do it without these pictures? That's just like only reading a book that has pictures in it. You should be able to read a book that ain't got no pictures in it. Is what I'm trying to say. You should be able to be spiritual when you ain't got nothing on you. You ain't got no crystals on you. You ain't got no can. And again, I'm not saying that those things are bad, but you should know what your spiritual gifts are if you don't have none of those things. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You should be able to know, I can do this, I can do that without the crystals, cards, and candles. It's like I said, certain people, like I said, have different gifts. Just like there are a lot of people that can sing, but not everybody has the gift. A lot of people are good with children, but some people have a gift. Don't just jump on something because it looks good. That's a problem. A lot of, especially in corporate America, that's a huge problem. Leading has to be a gift, but you go to college and you can be anybody's leader. It doesn't matter whether you have the gift or not. All you got to do is go to school and be like, oh, I went here. Oh, you're a leader now. That's not how it works. Like I said, you can be offended by that if you want to. It's the fucking truth. Just because you have a degree does not make you a leader. If you already have the gift of leading, if that's already a gift to you, then school should be able to enhance it, not give you the ability by default. Just like picking up tarot cards doesn't give you the ability by default. Just like having crystals doesn't give you the ability by default. What is your talent? What are your gifts and your abilities? Instead of just jumping on shit because it's the trend. What do you want out of these things? Especially, like I said, especially if it's not an innate gift in you. Like I said, it's more to it than being intuitive. Everybody has intuition. Is it your gift? Anybody can get crystals, but is that your gift? Do you even know what these crystals are, like where they come from and what they're really supposed to do? Do you really know? And just because, and I'm a huge, I love books. I collect them. I love them. I love everything about a book. But I have enough sense to know that just because something is in a book doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't mean it's accurate. Do you like the crystals just because they have pretty colors? Or do you actually know what to do with them? And do you even know if you even have real crystals on your hands, or are they those resin, the fake resin crystals that anybody can make anywhere? Can you tell if the crystals that you have are real? And everybody has a fucking deck. Everybody has a tarot deck. Everybody has an oracle deck. There's so many decks out here. So many decks. Did anybody even stop to understand what even the point of creating a deck was? Or what the process, the sacred process was to even create one in the first place? and it turned into playing cards, but in the original process, since everybody got a fucking deck out here now, we're all supposed to, you know, channel and be on every. There's so many wavelengths. Like it's like I said, it's just oversaturated. It's overly saturated. Because again, people don't like to take the time to get in tune with themselves and who they are and what their abilities are. And a lot of y'all picking up these cards, it might be something else that you're called to fucking do. Some of y'all are supposed to be at hospitals right now healing people, but y'all on the internet with fucking cards, crystals, and candles. Some of y'all are supposed to be setting people free from prison, but y'all on the fucking internet with cards, crystals, and candles. Some of y'all are supposed to be in these streets quelling the violence. Some of y'all really your presence. If some of y'all could just walk through the fucking streets wearing a certain color, certain shit just wouldn't happen. But y'all are on the internet with cards, crystals, and fucking candles. What is your gift? What is your gift? Some of y'all could be helping people fall in love and get married, but you're on the internet with cards, crystals, and fucking candles. What is your gift? Stop doing clown shit all the fucking time. Stop jumping on spiritual trends because you're a little intuitive. Use that intuition to figure out what your fucking gift is. Like I said, some of y'all men and women, some of y'all have a gift to bring people together, to help people start families, to keep people's marriages together. Why don't you focus on that? Why don't you get that energy together? Some of y'all neighborhoods, some especially like the Black community, like some of y'all called to heal these neighborhoods. The fuck out of here with the novelty shit, with this cute shit. Do you really want to be at the hospital healing people and they don't smell good and it ain't glamorous and your spirit guides don't want no cameras there? It ain't for the people. It ain't a show. Would you follow that gift? Or do you just want to be seen? Oh, well, so and so did it and I'm intuitive. So I'm getting me a deck. I'm going to be a tarot reader. Some of you, your gift is with children. Some of you can understand what some of these autistic children are trying to say and they can't verbalize it or articulate it for themselves. They don't have to say a word to you. You know what they're thinking. You know what they're saying. You can help them speak their words and articulate and speak for themselves. But you spend your money on fucking crystals and candles. Wanting everything to be a fucking show. Wanting everything to be a fucking competition. That shit is so fucking annoying. Everything isn't a competition. Again, that's that binary thinking. Some of y'all can't do shit without saying, I'm going to do it better. Sit down and do you better. Stop wanting to pitch yourself against every fucking thing else, everybody else. Anyway, that is my rant for today. And like I said, I'm going to be doing more of these videos because like I said, I'm going to take a break from doing the general readings. And I'm going to be doing that. And again, if you want a reading, I will start putting up like links of how to contact me, how to reach out to me. But I'm going to take a break from the general readings because like I said, it's really oversaturated. And I know I have a lot of people just watching me to absorb what I'm doing, just trying to figure out how is it I'm doing what I'm doing. And I work with a lot of entities that a lot of y'all wouldn't understand. And you're trying to absorb shit from me that you might not want. Like I said, stop being a leech. Stop being a fucking parasite. Stop being competitive. That's how you get fucked up in these spiritual streets. Somebody might be channeling energy and it might be working for them. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Some people do certain things to get an exchange from certain entities, certain spirits. And if you didn't do that and you trying to absorb that energy, you might get fucked up. Like it's should be real. Like y'all be wanting to have these fucking cartoon lives. Like shit is real. Shit is real. If you feel like you're growing spiritually or you like the spiritual movement, instead of doing what you see somebody else do, take the time to slow down and figure out what you're supposed to do. And the first thing you need to do is get rid of binary thinking. That is going to have you jammed up in these spiritual streets. This right and wrong. Sometimes spirit might want you to do something that is considered bad. Spirit might want you to have sex with somebody that's not who in a marriage setting. That might be some spiritual energy needed for both of y'all. But no. Oh no. I'm looking for a husband. That's another thing. Some of y'all have some of y'all have sacred sexual energy. And it's something about the way you have sex with somebody that heals them. But you over here riding my fucking dick. Get to know yourself. Get to know what your gifts are, what you're supposed to be doing. Like I said, it's a whole bunch of gifts out here. It's a whole bunch of spiritual gifts out here. Why everybody witches and tarot readers? It's a whole bunch of other shit out here too. Why y'all riding my dick? Why y'all listening to everything I fucking say and won't share nothing I say and do, but will like and share shit that everybody else is doing their own bullshit. That spiteful energy will get you fucked up in these spiritual streets. Like I said, that's another reason why I'm not doing it. Like I said, I can feel it. The people sitting here trying to absorb and shit like that and don't want to, talk to me, don't want to pay me for my services. Like I said, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I said, and I don't need not a fucking card. Try and don't believe me, book a fucking appointment. Book a fucking appointment. Look at the shit that I say and write. Look at the shit that I've been talking about for years and how the shit then came to pass. Look at the shit that I call foul on and see if you be like, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I ain't even know. Oh my God, I ain't even noticed that. And we all have a part to play. And there are people that are tarot readers that I follow because I can tell that they genuinely have a gift to do it. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm not throwing salt on anybody. But at the end of the day, don't do it because you feel like you got a point to prove. Do it because it's like breathing to you. Like I said, I will be back with more. Again, do not expect any general readings to be up. If you are interested in a reading with me, go to themosthightarot.com. And I'm constantly working on my website because I'm constantly working on me and I'm constantly thinking of ways to provide services to people. But you can hit me up there. And again, even if you just have questions, email me. And like I said, we can talk. Okay. Even if you aren't sure of what your spiritual gifts are. Like I said, that's something else that, I can help you with. So So, with that being said, everybody enjoy this rainy weather. It's raining here in Philly. It's very dark and overcast. And like I said, there's a lot going on spiritually. Um, and that's really what I'm focused on. So, like I said, I don't have the time to do the general readings. But to the people that genuinely follow me and support me in a genuine way, thank you so much. I love and appreciate you. Um, like I said, I'm thinking of ways to um, do more and to provide more support spiritually to the people that are interested in what I do. Again, thank you all so much, and I will be back.